Well, hey everybody, what I've got here is I've got my 1600 dual port Volkswagen motor that goes in my single cab truck. I rebuilt this thing. I didn't show any of that on the channel here, but I rebuilt this thing, could not get it running right. Well, it's got like vacuum leak problem, or we thought it was a vacuum leak. I took it to some experts over in Indianapolis. They said there's definitely something wrong with the cam. So we are today going to tear this brand fresh built engine apart, and we're going to replace the camshaft. And I'm going to try to do just half of the engine. I was told by the experts you could do that. So we're just going to take apart this half and get to the cam and replace it, and not take off the cylinders on the other side. We'll see how it goes. So let's get started. We're using a 10 millimeter deep. These little things are hard to find. You think these clamps are not hard to find, but there we go. This doghouse is going to make it tougher. It's out. Bingo. What you could tell by this is that our Cooltech stock is only slightly less than our high performance W120, okay, and our W90 is way less than either one of them. So this stock Cooltech cam is anything but stock. So therein probably lies the problem. This is a performance cam that has been stuffed in a stock box, and so I'm very much going to be very leery of using any of these in the future. Maybe most of them are okay, maybe they're fine, but I think from now on I'm only going to use angle. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to stick it in the car. I've got a lot of things to do to clean up the engine surfaces and things before we put this back together, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to put it back together. Okay, we got the new angle camshaft here. We're going to go ahead and put this gear on the end of it. Now, to put this thing on, you have to orient it properly. And so what you want to do is you want to find the back lobe here, and whichever direction it's pointing, the dot on the gear is opposite that. Okay, so this is pointing this way, this dot is pointing that way. So that's exactly how you want to put that on there, right there. And of course these bolts will only go in or line up one direction, so you know you got it right. So I have taken some new bolts. I have ground the heads off a little bit just to make sure we don't have any interference problems with the oil pump, because that's a problem. And we'll want to Loctite these things in and make sure that they do not come out. Hopefully not ever. And we want to put them in. We're going to torque them to 18 foot-pounds each. And of course I'm snugging these up in a vise with some protection here. We definitely don't want to mess with those lobes. I think I need that a little bit tighter. Can't tell if it's still turning.
It'll have to be still turning, wouldn't it?
Okay, it's okay. Okay, that one's in. Got that one. Okay, Loctited and ready to go. Okay, so we wanted to make sure that when we got a new angle cam that we use angle lifters as well. That was one of the prerequisites, because the hardness of the lifter matches the cam. These ones are covered with phosphate. I've never used these before. I don't know, but these are some phosphate covered ones. So I use a little assembly lube. You want to use assembly lube on these, obviously. And so I just use some Lucas oil assembly lube is what
Your hand
I've
is
been
in the
using.
way. I can't see anything you're doing.
It's okay, it's just gooping it up. Like that. And then we're gonna put them right here, of course, back in the motor. One at a time, and then I'm just gonna do that for all of these until we get it all filled up, and then also put some in the other case have over there on the bench. We'll use some clips to hold that in there until we're ready to put it in, but we'll also assembly lube up the camshaft here in a minute when we put the new one in. We'll bring it back in a minute. Okay, next we got to lube the camshaft up. We're going to lube these bearing areas first with some more of this compound. And we'll also lube the top of these valves, or these lifters rather. All right. And I've already done these surfaces of the bearings as well. Now I'm reusing these bearings. I don't know. You might not agree with that, but I'm going to do it. So now we're going to time this out. We're going to line this up to the point where it intersects properly. Let's just go ahead and smooth this around a little bit. We're going to line this up to where the timing mark right here, it's got to interface with the two timing marks. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but two timing marks on that gear. And so you can see right there, those two timing marks with dots on them, the teeth go right in the middle, just like that. And it should just fall in there like that. And you can see, you know you got it right when you got those dots all lined up. Hopefully you can see that in there. But there we got two dots here, and then the camshaft gear has one dot, and it goes between the other two.
You can try to take a still picture with your camera.
Hopefully you can see that. Well, yeah, we'll take a still and superimpose it too, just to make sure. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of assembly lube around these gears too. It's gonna have oil in it, but I'm gonna lube it up anyway, just to make sure that it spins nice and easy. We'll cycle it around too later, and that'll get it all lubed up. Okay. So the new cam's in. We verified that the timing's all lined up. So now we just got to work on the other side of the case. We got to put some Permatex on the seal around here, and we'll get the other case ready first with the lifters like we did on this side, and then we'll put the clips in to hold it in place, and then we'll put the Permatex on both sides of the case. We also got to worry about this plug back here. I need some more goop to seal that plug. I'll have to put that on as well. Yeah, and then we'll just put the two case halves together. Everything will be fine. Make sure you lube all these up good.
You said you had some to hold those things in.
Okay, different ways to do this, but I bought these little spring clips here, and these hold the lifters in from the back side so that when you flip it over, they don't fall out this way. And you just squeeze them. You put it inside the the lifters on the back side.
I can't see it, so.
Like that. And now they're kind of held, see?
No,
so,
nobody can see anything.
So basically you squeeze this, put it inside both those lifters, and then it'll spring out and hold them in place against the wall so they don't fall. And they work pretty good.
Oh,
how's
that's better.
Got to put them in all the way so they go into the lifters.
Like holes in the lifters or something?
Well,
Inside of it?
that isn't grabbing anything. There. Now we're grabbing. I'm not sure this is. No, it's not. There. Alright. Do it again because we're going to put some more lube in.
It's still going, man.
All right, so we also got one bearing here in the middle. We want to make sure that we lube that back up again. That's a crank bearing. Two case halves are going to go back together. Just want to make sure I got a little lube on that guy, because we just drained the oil and everything's fell out all the orifices. So I want to make sure he's nice and lubed. These don't matter because there's bearings that go in on those. Yeah, okay. So I got to lube up the other half of this cap. It was really tight in there, so I only cleaned off half of it. We're gonna silicone that back up, and then we'll start putting the sealer around it. Get ready to put it back in.
Okay, what are you doing now?
I'm just gonna. On that, because that's got to touch the bearing.
Okay.
Well, Permitex aviation gasket sealer. Pretty much what everybody uses, I believe. Is this stuff aviation gasket? Some use them for the last brush. Don't want to get too close to that bearing. You know that secret of the bearing at all. Huh? You don't want to get too close. Yeah, the thing is the bearing. It's okay. Not here, not with that. You don't want to get in between bearing and the crankshaft.
So this is okay for that one?
No, I prefer not getting there.
Oh, it's not.
There we go. There we go. Pull that way.
That one's okay.
Here we go. I think I'm sorry. We're just gonna have.
Yeah, I think it's in the
The bearing.
Okay. That's not good. Now we get the brush. We just look down that way.
Wait, I also new rubber gaskets around these posts as well. So.
What is that supposed to be?
Okay, now we're ready to put this on. These need to go up. Yes, thank you.
Here, hold on a second. Oh no, I can't do anything. Oh, it fell. Okay.
Helps to have a helper.
Oh, sorry. I'm not very good at videoing and helping.
Okay. Okay. About together.
Okay.
All right. Now, we're ready to start putting these bolts in, okay? Let me get them ready to go, because I don't quite have them in front of me here. And we'll start putting these bearing bolts in first, which are these big ones in the middle, and there's a certain torque or torquing pattern that you have to use. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I've got these bolts or nuts and the washers on. I use a little Permatex underneath each washer and then a little bit under each nut, just to make sure it seals it. So now you torque these up first. So what you want to do is you want to start in the middle. So you want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and torque them that way. And this is about 18 to 25 foot-pounds for each one. So here we go. I've got this already set. And I'm just going to go a few turns. I'm not going to hit it all at once. We're going to go gradual here. 2, 3. So I've just kind of finger tighten these down. Oh, little resistance there. Here, little resistance. Oh, little resistance there. Out to here. All right, then we go back to the middle. This is the first one. A little bit more. 2, 3, 4. Oh, almost torque. 5, All right, now we should be able to torque these. 1 right there. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I like to go over them all again, just to make sure. Yep. All right, mains are done.
Plus, it's a fun noise.
Yeah.
Why does this one have more screw holes? Like, some of them have more screw holes up than others.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
actually, these 3 do, and these 3 don't.
My case bolts are threaded in a little bit farther into the case for those than the other ones.
Interesting. Just
You would have to make note of that.
well, somebody will ask,
No, if I don't put it in.
and it should be me.
All right, so we can take these out now because they're not going anywhere and they're just getting in the way. Okay, now that those are done, we're going to start putting in all these washers and nuts around the perimeter of the case. And we got it all torqued together. We're going to make sure everything still turns like it's supposed to. Yeah. Everything still seems smooth. You look down in there, you can see the lifters moving up and down. Yeah, it's spinning freely, so
I like the whoop noise.
if it was wrong, it wouldn't be doing that. Okay, I lost my camera person. So next thing I'm going to do is put some of this silicone ultra gray gasket maker. Just going to put it around the perimeter of this cylinder jug, just so that we've got some good I know you can't see this very well, but let me get that off of there first. Trying to make a good seal here just to protect it from getting any more, or protect this thing from any oil that might try to escape from around the cylinders. I like to do this as a precaution. Put some kind of sealant around here. It's going to squirt all out when I put this together, but I think it's just a little added protection there, if you can see that. And I'm going to do this on both cylinders, obviously. That's not very nice looking. We'll just fix it with my finger here, so we get it nice and uniform around there. There, and then the rest will squirt out when I put them together. I'm just going to do that same thing with this other one. Alright, so next we're going to put these jugs in. Now I'm going to start here with number 2. Number 1's straight up, but I think it might be easier to get the pin in if I do number 2 first. So I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees so that bottom dead center and my gauge is right in the center of the case split, and that'll put number 2 at the topmost position. I've already lubed up with some run-in lubricants inside here, so the pins will go in nice and easy. And we're going to start putting this in the correct direction, that is, and get our pin ready here. I've got the pin ready to go, and it's fairly lubed up. So we're just going to start and put this thing in here. Like this. There we go. See if we can get this pin in here started. And then see if we can push it through that rod. There it is. Right in it went. All right. Now we get one of the spring clips. And here's where you got to be extremely careful, because you don't want to lose one of these down in the engine. That would be bad. So I'm going to take some precautions here. We're going to shove this down in here just to make sure that it doesn't fall in there. That would be pretty bad. Now, I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing here. Probably not too. And this camera isn't the greatest by myself to get in, you know, really close with. It's a little wide angle, unfortunately, but I'll try to get you in here and so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe we'll see if we can't zoom in on that a little bit. So we need to get him in there. Don't want it going flying either. And there you go. Come on. Push it in all the way. Click. There you go. That one's in. Yeah. Okay, now we're just gonna, I'm gonna get a little oil so this slides a little easier. I'm just gonna coat the inside of this thing a little bit. Come on, come on. There it goes. Just a little bit around the perimeter so that it'll slide a little easier as it goes down. All right. And then we should be able to just push this guy down into the case. Let's see if we got these bolts lined up. I think we do. Yeah. In we go. Come on. Now, I've already ran this motor before, so I know the deck height's right. I know everything's right. There we go. Done. You can see it squirted out there, so that's good. All right. Now we're just going to do the same thing on the other one to clean this off a little bit before we put the head on. Oh, what's that? Got a little bit of something in there. And as you can see, I've already numbered these. So now that that's on there, I'm going to hold it down while I rotate this thing until the other one is at top dead center. And we're almost there. Right there. All right, now we're just going to do the same thing here with number one that we just did with number two. So pretty easy to do. Let's see if we can get it down in there. Down in there. Now that stuff's squirting out, which is fine. We'd expect that. All right. Looking good. Just push it down a little bit. Make sure it's seated. All right, now one thing you want to do next. Do not forget. Because you got to put this tin on. And if you forget it, you're going to hate yourself. Whoops. If you do this, you're really going to hate yourself because you cannot. If once you get the head on, you can't put this on. And don't forget this tin. It goes in there like that. And it goes up here and snaps. There we go. If you forget that and put the head on, you're going to have to take it all back apart again. So don't want to forget that. Okay, just to show you, I cleaned the top of these pistons up. When you put these in here, don't forget, if, you know, I know what orientation mine were in. But when you put pistons in, make sure these pistons, they have a little arrow on them. You can see it right there. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's an arrow right there. Both pistons, those arrows should be pointing to the flywheel, okay? So it should be pointing that direction. Don't forget that. You gotta put those on.
Okay, I think we're going to clean up a little bit here around the perimeter, and then I think we're ready to put the head back on. I might clean the head up just a little bit and I'll bring you back. Okay, one thing I always do when I'm dealing with these tubes, as you can see, I've cleaned them off pretty well. I'm reusing these gaskets. I know people may think that's a bad idea, but they've hardly been on there and they cleaned up just fine. So I'm going to I usually put a little bit of this Permatex on the actual seal itself on both ends. I'm just going to coat it around the gasket. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Haven't really had too much trouble with it leaking anywhere else, like around it. But I think this just gives an extra added measure of confidence, you know, that it's gonna stay and not leak. All right. So I'm gonna just do this for all of them, and then we'll put them on there and kind of balance them, and we'll put the rods back in. We want to make sure this seam here, if you can see that seam, we want to make sure that seam is facing up, okay? Because if that seam ever splits, you don't want your oil running out. So that has to be facing up, all right? I'm just going to do this on the rest of them. And we'll bring you back. Okay, tubes are in. Now, usually what I'll do is after I get the Permatex on, I'll take each one of them one at a time and I'll just hold it. I'll put it down, I'll press it down in the hole down here at the base, and I'll just hold that thing, and I'll hold it for a good 20 seconds or more and just wait until it gets a little tacky, and then they'll just stay there. And when we put the head on, you got to be very careful because you'll have to move the tops of these so that they fit in the holes in the head. But let's get you started, okay? So I'm going to clean this rim off just a little bit, and then we're going to stick the head on here, and I'll set the camera up so you can see it. Okay, it's time to put the head on. We got to be very careful. Okay, easy, easy, easy. Now as these go down, these crazy tubes are not lined up exactly right. So we've got to kind of merge them into their locations like that. Okay, okay. Oh, coming in. Easy. I think we're in. Almost. We're close. Okay. I don't think we're down all the way. Maybe we are. Alright. Well, I think we are. Okay. Now we're going to put the head bolts in. These head bolts have really thick washers on them. So you got to make sure you get the right ones. You got to get the right stuff for it. And these will fit right inside of grooves in here. So let me get in closer here. Alright, you can see that these thick washers, they fit in here over top these grooves we've got in the head. You remember we had a little trouble getting those out before. So we had to move the studs around to get them to line up. So we can get them out. And now we got to put them back in. We might have to move the studs a little bit to get them back in. And again on the other side here, likewise we've got 4 more. Here, 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 and here. So we're going to get those put in. Don't want to lose these because you're not just going to find those at the hardware store, okay? Bingo. Then of course we're going to put all the nuts on. And of course there is a tightening pattern for this. So we'll have to pay attention to that when we get ready to torque these up. Okay, I've started these nuts down. Now there's a pattern you've got to do when you torque them. So we're going to start with a pattern that's going to torque these to 7 foot-pounds, okay? You want to start with 7 foot-pounds. And the pattern for these is you want to start on one side of the head and then move to the other side of the head. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do the same thing on the other side. 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. And so we're going to torque it just like that, and we're going to do it to 7 foot-pounds. So let's just start. 1, oops, getting in tightening. And 7's not much. I've already kind of done these a little bit. 1. I'm going to do them a little at a time. 2. 3. 4. Okay. Then 5. 6. Let me get it on there. You can't see that side, I know. Oops. I heard that one pop. 7. And then 8. All right. So now we're going to do that again because some of these didn't get all the way torqued. So this is 7 foot-pounds. You can barely hear it with this torque wrench. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're doing good. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's the first pattern we want to use right there. So these are all torqued to 7 foot-pounds. So now we're going to switch over to a different torque for the final. And the torque you're supposed to use depends on what size bolts you've got for your heads, okay? So different blocks have different sizes. These are the smaller ones. These are 8mm studs. Some of the cases come with 10mm studs. Now, if you have 8mm studs, then your torque is going to be 18 foot-pounds on this final one. If they're bigger, if it's a 10mm, it's going to be 23 foot-pounds, okay? Also, the pattern we use to torque these is going to be different. So I'm going to switch this thing over to 18 foot-pounds. There's 15, 16, 17, 18 right there. So that's 18 foot-pounds by my torque wrench right there. Okay, now we're going to alternate. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna move around. So let's start. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna go around it. I'm not gonna torque it all the way. 5, 6, 7. Do it slowly. 8. Okay, so it's not 18 yet, so we got to do it again until it clicks. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some of these get you worried. 8. Woo! They really worry you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Did them a little bit out of order, but okay. Those are all torqued down now to the right torque specs. All right, coming together. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our push rods in. All right. Now I did label these last time. I don't know if I really needed to, but I did it anyway. So I've taken these out of the other side too. So let's see. Got the label. This is number 1 intake right here. Number 1 intake. And the intake is going to be the center one. And this is cylinder number 1. This one's obscured, so I'm going to put it aside for a minute. This one's number 2 exhaust. Okay. Number 2, which is here, and the exhaust is on the outside. 2 exhaust. He's about ready. We could put our rockers on there. So let me grab one of those out of the box. Got our wavy washers. Put these things where they need to be. All right. Come on, there we go. Now you gotta lift up. You gotta put these tubes right in the ends here. They won't oil correctly. There we go. Now we'll just put those on. All right, we found them. Here's a wavy washer and the nut. There's a wavy washer there. Actually, I think the wavy goes down, but I'm not sure. And a nut, and we got 2 for the other side. Okay, now, those rockers, okay, 14 to 18 foot-pounds. I've got this already set to 18 foot-pounds, so I'm just going to use it. And again, make sure when you tighten these down that you've got all those push rods in their little respective places here on the rocker arms. Okay. All right. Everything's torqued. Everything's where it should be. So we're going to move on to the next step, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to start working on, I think we're probably going to put the flywheel on, and then maybe the oil pump, or we might do the oil pump first. So I'll bring you back. Okay, next we're going to put the oil pump in, and really just because I'd like to get anything that uses Permatex or any kind of sealing stuff out of the way so it can be curing. But we're going to start the oil pump. It goes in this direction with the shaft on top. I'm going to clean it just a little bit, and then I'm going to use a lot of Permatex around the edge here, and then for the cover we're going to use some Permatex around here, so, and another gasket. So we'll bring you right back when we got that. Okay, for starters, we put some Permatex around where this is going. We're going to use a little bitty gasket here that comes with the kit. That goes on. So now I'm going to put a little more Permatex on that gasket even before I put the pump in. Again, I don't want this to, do not want this to leak. So the more the merrier, in my opinion. I think this is what you're supposed to do anyway. So I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here and dabble some more Permatex aircraft gasket maker to this. You want to try not to get it inside the cavity there. You don't want it in there. You don't want to plug any of those orifices up or do anything that's going to interfere with that. So go light. Try not to get any on the inside. If you can help it. Okay, now as you can see, that's completely covered again. So we're going to take the oil pump, and again, you want to make sure that the place where the shaft goes is at the top, okay? Because that's where your that's where the end of your crankshaft or your camshaft is. That has the slot in it, so it goes this way. All right. So we're just going to pop that in there. If I can get it in there, should slide right in. Yep, just like that. Right in there. Now, I have the gears. We're going to put that top gear in. Make sure that we can line it up, okay? So here's the gear. I don't remember where that slot is. I think it's something like that. So yeah, right there. See that? It's in. Now if you get in there crooked, it's going to stick out. It's not going to fit all the way, okay? So you got to rotate it till it slides in, and then you got it. Okay, So I didn't show this, but I went ahead and put quite a bit of assembly lube on these gears when I put them in here, just because I want it to make a really good seal when it starts up and build oil pressure very quickly. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick some more Permatex on the outside perimeter of this. There's another gasket that goes on there that looks a little bit different, and it's got some holes in it because there's like an oil ring around here. So you don't really want to get the Permatex in there because the oil has to travel around there. So we're going to put some on the outside here. I'm going to stick this on and put a little bit more on the outside of this, and then the cover. And I'll bring you back when I got that together. All right. That's all finished. Now we can probably move on to flywheel. I might do that tomorrow. So we'll come back and see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're going to adjust the valves on this side since we got it all open. And the cam card here for this new Engel cam I got says the valve lash is 004. So that's 4/1000ths of an inch, and normally VW specs are 6/1000ths of an inch, but since this is a different cam, I'm gonna go with the cam card. Maybe that's wrong, I don't know, but I think Engel probably knows what they're doing, so we're gonna use the cam card. Now I've already done these two for cylinder 1, just because I wanted to check things out, and I think they're a little bit too loose. I'm probably going to go back and do them again, but right now I've got it positioned for cylinder 2, which is this one, and there's a lot of there's some gap here, there's gap here. I've already cranked that one a little bit, so we're going to use the 4/1000ths feeler gauge and put it in here, and I can tell right now it's pretty close on this one.
About that.
All right, we're going to try to get the flywheel on, and so these shims, I got to shim it, and I had shims here that came out of there. I just re-cleaned them a little bit, and I'm putting them in exactly the same way they were. We kind of recorded how they were coming out, and so I want to make sure I put them back the same way so there's no variation. I'd already checked the in play before. I'll probably check it again. So before we put that rear main seal in there, I'm going to go ahead and put the flywheel on and torque it up to specs. Then we'll check the in play again. Hopefully it's still within tolerances it's supposed to be. And then we'll take the flywheel back off, put the seal back in, and then finish up the back end. All right. Oh, I also put the valve covers on. Didn't figure you guys needed to know how to do that. That's pretty simple. So okay, we'll be back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put another flywheel seal in here because I got one. I've drenched this thing in oil just so it slides in easy, and that way it'll fit over the crank a little easier too. There we go. Christmas list, and then when Christmas comes it doesn't get ordered, and then I still don't have one.
Trust me, he buys enough stuff that is not on his Christmas list.
Oh really?
Yeah.
She always says that, but if you put something on there, you don't get it. It costs too much. Then it's almost done. I'm gonna get some. Alright, we're gonna use some red thread locker on this. You don't want this coming out. Put plenty on there. That'll probably be enough. A little goes a long way, but alright. I'm gonna torque that up, and then we'll bring you back and we'll do the clutch and flywheel, or clutch plate.
This is so scary.
Ah, gosh. Woohoo!
I don't like that.
Alright, so we're going to want to use a clutch alignment tool here. Put that right down the middle of your clutch plate in order to get everything the way it goes. You want that to be centered into the hole. Hopefully I can get this fed in here and do it all. And then that goes in the middle of the gland nut and into those needle bearing locations just like that. So now this thing will just slide around and float, and the clutch is perfectly aligned no matter what happens to this pressure plate. That went to a really cheap though. LA one. I mean, that's a few for different cars. I don't know which one. Just like the third motorcycle game. Well, I want to get nicer. Literally 3 motorcycle games. I know.
That's not like
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, we're just going to snug these up a little bit. Not torque them yet, because I'm going to use a torque wrench, but we're going to use this to at least get them started, you know? You know what I'm talking about.
Because you're lazy.
Yeah.
Smarter, not harder.
Right.
All the things.
All right.
Good enough.
All right, now let's get the torque layer up. This thing already. The torque wrench has already set up 17 pounds.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, 18 pounds, what we want. And we'll go around it. So, 18 foot-pounds is what we want. And we'll just go around it. Spring loaded, so we'll alternate. Here. You go there. There you go. Okay. I should let that thing ahead.
That's what the old internet says.
Oh, there it is. I know, guys. Okay, I think we go ahead these on. So we slide back. Oh, look at that. There's a whole thing in there. That's rough. Yeah, they don't take it too tight. Because these clamps are made that way. And they will disintegrate. Trying to put this on, we gotta feed this down in that little hole right there. Can you get that bar that just fell again?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Feed it down and twist it. And then we gotta get that over that. I'm stuck on something. Close. This side here. That's not true. That's not really. We're not that far. This way. Good. This side. Not going that way. That's a problem. Well, we're just gonna have to take that out, I guess. We'll hang on to my car. We'll just take a screw out. That's right back. Okay. We're gonna do the thermostat. And that's under here. And as long as this thing came through the right spot, which I believe it did, let me go ahead and put this back in. I had to do some modifications to this bracket and everything in order for the thermostat to work right. One of them is this little nub here. There's a hole in here that it hooks into, but you got to thread it into the rod first. And then this pulls down like that into that hole so it doesn't turn. There. Now it's ready to go, so that this isn't the right size.
Say that as not the right.
Which is why it was going.
But you tried.
I did. Alright, so now everything's closed. When this thing gets hot, then this will expand and that rod will effectively oops, this thing is heavy. The rod will come up and it will push this thing open that way. It will let this open, or I should say close. No, I think it's opening. I think it's closed right now, so the engine can get hot, and then as it gets hot, then that rod, that thermostat will expand, and this will go that way, and it'll open this all up and start cooling. So that was easy. Now we'll go ahead and, I think I'm going to go ahead and put on this bottom tin. Since the thermostat is in place, nothing is preventing us from putting that tin on. So got some screws and a bolt. Perfect. I had to make it, so remember, I think I can just thread this one in here. I molded a nut on the back side of that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put on this so we can put the pulley on. This is two here. That goes underneath and that goes in the middle of, just like that. There we go. He's on. Like so. This, and then somehow, there we go. Like that. You put this in your mouth, like this. Whoa!
Okay, you want this?
Let's just launched it. All right, that ain't going anywhere. All right. Time to put these on the exhaust J tubes. This one's a little wet because I just painted some rusty spots on there. I didn't want to get anywhere, so. Okay.
Don't need to wrench that one, do you? That doesn't need a wrench, does it?
Oh, well. We're putting spark plugs in. Which is the happy thing. Okay, so the plugs are in, and that was a fiasco because I almost cross-threaded number one. I was sweating bullets there for a little bit. I finally got something in there to clean them a little bit, suck the junk out, but that plug was going in funny, and now it's good. But now I'm just putting the wires on. So this is, in case you don't know, this is 1432 is the timing, and if you don't know, it's written right here on the generator stand, 1432 with one usually being somewhere here or somewhere here. So you got to know your engine. Depends on how this gear has been put in there. So if my top dead center for one, it's pointing over to this one. So that's number one, and then 4 is here, then 3, then 2. And if you think of it backwards, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, but it turns this way. So they always start with number 1 when they're firing order, defining firing order. So it's 1, 4, 3, 2. So anyway, that's in. Let's go ahead and pop this thing in here. Get the coil lit up with this. Got the carb, of course. Put that in here and try not to mess up the gasket for sure. There we go. This is an empty carburetor. Brand new, really. Because it's got that built into it, they're slightly smaller heads. But, okay. We'll zip that off of there. Now you gotta be mindful of shims, right? These shims all have to go on a certain way. There's shims on the oops, here's one extra one, Lindy. There's shims on the inside and shims on the outside. My particular setup here, I think I've got maybe 2 or 3 on the inside, and all the rest of them are on the outside. They come in a kit. So, I'll put the belt on here. The shims are there already. Now, as you tighten that, these will draw together, and that'll get, the belt will get tighter. See there? That should work. I may have to tighten it again after it runs a few revolutions.
was scary.
Standing right in the road.
I'm sorry. Oh shoot. The coil hooked up. Well, what's going on?
Oh, it's just fresh oil.
Not ran anywhere either.
No.
Just idle.
Yay!
Ready?
Hold on a second. Okay, now I'm ready.
Get up to 2,000 RPM.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Well, as it turns out, you can just replace the camshaft by taking apart just half the motor. You can see we got it all together here, and it wasn't really too tough of a build really to do it. Just a little bit of time consuming. The engine runs like a top, and I think the problem definitely was the camshaft that was in it was a little too aggressive, and it was the wrong one. So replacing it did the trick. So we're going to start her up here. We'll cut out this part. All right. Thanks for joining us and following along. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and like. It helps the channel a bit. And so, till next time, we'll see you later.